Welcome to the Sweetbro Podcast, where we talk about innovation and growth in B2B companies. You can watch the podcast on sweetbro.com podcast and listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, and RSS.
Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah. You have had a very successful career in sales for the last 25, 30 years. You have managed large teams, small teams. You have made incredible growth with the companies that you have worked with. But please explain us with your own words, what has been your background in sales, in automation, motion control, and energy efficiency?
Well, first I'm engineer from the Polytechnical University in Catalonia. And then I started my career in a German company called Bergelar. I was there for 2 years in Germany. And this is something that I really encourage everyone to go outside, to see what is going on in the rest of the world, to have different backgrounds and so on. Second, after this experience outside, I started this company here in Spain. And this gave me also this entrepreneur mentality, to start from scratch something. And this is very good also to know that you have to be in the field for growing something by yourself. And this was very successful. We grow amazingly. This company was acquired by a big corporation, international, and then I started my career there. I become vice president of a new business unit. And then I moved also to Germany and moved to US as vice president of the whole business in Americas, and as a president of one motion control company in US. I have been in US for 10 years, managing the business more than 500 million, business revenue growing more than double digit every year. And then I moved to a global motion control company as a responsible for global sales. So a lot of background in sales for sure, managing people, this is key, understanding different organizations, understanding customers, and what we need to do for being successful.
A long story, but how did it start? How did you move from engineering into sales? When you started with Bergelar, did you start as an applications engineer or did you directly go into sales?
Yeah, when I started in Bergelar, I started as an application engineer, as a sales guy, as a after support guy, pre-sales, post-sales. So I have done everything. And this gives you a very, very good background because you understand what are the pain points and where you need to be focused for being successful, okay? So I started like that. But at the end, my approach was always business focused. What I want is to be successful. And being successful in business is to grow the business. And for growing, you need sales. That's clear, okay? The interaction with the customers always I love, and I like to solve challenges with the customer, to create atmosphere that they trust you, and to be a trusted advisor for the customers.
You made this transition from applications to sales. Do you think this is normal, or is it the normal path for people to go from applications to sales? Or it depends on the person?
What is normal? Normal is something normal, we can say. So at the end, perhaps it's not normal, but should be the way if we are speaking about technical sales. Good sales guys need to understand what they are selling. You need to have the technical background and you need to know what you are speaking about. I'm speaking about applications in automation. So high technical applications that require some technical background to understand the pain points. But for me, it's not the key point. Sales guys doesn't need to be super technical, even in a very technological companies. For me, it's much more important other qualities or qualifications from the sales guys than to be very deep into the pit.
What are the main qualities that you look for when you look for a sales engineer, sales guy at a company?
Sales engineer is like any other sales guy. For sure, they have to have a technical background and so on to understand what they are speaking about. But for me, the most important thing is to have a sense of ownership, to have hunting spirit, to have curiosity, to have customer-centric mentality, and to create, again, what I mentioned to you, the atmosphere of the connection with customers, that they can be really a trusted advisor. This is the main topic for me. Curiosity. Curiosity is imperative for me. And a technical guy who is an engineer, sales engineer, working with machine builders. Well, you need to understand what is inside the electrical cabinet. You need to understand. The best for understanding the customer need is to open the cabinet and to speak about the application. What are the pain points? What are really the performance of the machines? What are the many things that the customer perhaps is thinking that you can solve? So this is key. Curiosity, ownership, this is key for me.
So you talked about something very interesting, which is customer centricity. You have managed many different types of companies. What do you see as the current status in B2B companies, especially high-tech companies, in terms of customer centricity or more product-centric companies? How do you see it, and what are the trends that you are seeing now?
If you are not customer-centric, you are dead sooner or later. The products are not sold by itself. You need to have very good customer approach. You need to understand why you sell your product and what is the customer experience that your customer has with you. It's not just the product, it's the customer experience. You can have the best product in the world, but if the customer experience is bad, you will be dead in a few years.
How does a sales guy help on this customer experience?
You know, customer experience is not based just on the sales guys. It's the whole company approach. You can be a very good sales guy, but if you don't have in your bag a big company with this customer-centric mentality, you will fail. Because it's customer support, it's application support, it's after sales, it's pricing, it's delivery, it's terms and conditions, it's many topics that everything has to match. Of course, the sales guys are the ones who negotiate, are the guys who are in front of the customers, are the face of the customer. But at the end, all the organization have to have this customer-centric organization. Without that, the sales guy will fail.
In the US, you were in charge of the business division worth more than 500 million per year and with double-digit growth for several years. What was the main source of growth for this type of B2B companies?
There are different aspects of the business. When you enter in any type of company, you need to understand how they work and which are the gaps that they can have, and then to be focused on improving the customer experience and improving at the end the sales. How to do it? When you go to any company and you ask a sales guy, how many customers you manage? If they don't tell you exactly the number, something is not right. When they are saying, perhaps 100, 150, sorry, it's not possible to manage 100, 150 customers. Not possible. Because what type of customer experience you will bring to these customers if you manage 100, 150 customers? This is one point. So focus is extremely imperative. Pareto here is very important. 80% of your business is done by 20% of your customers. Focus on these 20% of your customers. So focus, target accounts, and then what I implement is the way to understand and to have a strategic mindset for developing the projects. So what does it mean? There was no clear path on how to go deeper on the different aspects of any opportunity that we had. For example, which is the technical background? Okay, perfect. which are the key stakeholders to take the decision, which are promoters, which are not promoters, which are the competitors, why these competitors, where we are versus these competitors, which are the risk, can be technical, can be commercial, can be any type. What are the actions that we need to define to mitigate all this risk? So this is a very, very precise way of working that any opportunity, and you can say, hey, all opportunities bigger than, for example, 100K should have this specific approach and so on. So this is helping for this strategic mindset. Also, it's extremely important to have a clear targets. This looks, easy, but sometimes it's not so easy.
How do you set a clear target?
Yeah. One target for sure is business growth, for sure. Okay. But should be enough? No, should not be enough. The quality of the job is not based on the business that you have this year. Because, for example, in automation, we are speaking about business that the cycle to convert a customer could be between 2 and 3 years. I want to promote you to do the right actions today for having business in 3 years. So I want to set up a clear KPIs, targets, to develop the right opportunities for ensuring the growth of the future.
You mentioned earlier the Pareto rule, which applies in this market, that we have to focus on these 20% of customers that provide 80% of the revenue. However, a lot of business owners are worried about focusing in that 20% because they fear missing the other percentage of customers.
Yeah.
What would you tell them to give them the assurance that this is the way to go?
Well, first of all, when we speak about Pareto in terms of business, we speak about Pareto in terms of the actual business, not about on the future business. So you need to understand that 20% of your actual customers represent 80% of your actual business. This doesn't mean that in 5 years, 10 years will be like that with the same names. Should not be like that, okay? So again, when you are focused on target accounts, this 20%, this should be dynamic, cannot be fixed. Dynamic means that you have to allow the sales guys to bring new customers, and you have to promote to bring new customers, but the right ones. So everything have to be well set it up. The sales guys cannot bring freely any type of customers. No, have to have the right ones. And for that, you have to define which is the process to validate these new target accounts that any sales guys can bring. And this is the future of the company. What I love is a sales guy that can be focused on 25 customers that represents 80% of the business by 1st of January. After 1 year, he has these 25 plus 10 more or plus 15 more because he was working to develop new business also in non-target accounts.
We are coming close, or there is the fear of a new recession. A lot of companies, especially in the technological companies, are cutting down on employees. Is this fear also present in the industrial and automation B2B world? How are things progressing there?
Yeah, there is a fear in the coming months, and this I know it. But in the automation world, we can say in a medium, long term is in booming area. Okay, so we are booming because at the end we have a need of more automation. Think about robotics. Robotics is booming and will be booming in the coming 5, 10, 15 years. And when we are speaking about robotics, 5 years ago, everybody was speaking about robotics, industrial robots, anthropomorphic robot, Cartesian robot. And right now we are speaking other type of robots. Right now, everything is related to cobot. Everything is related to AGVs. Everything is related to humanoid robots. Humanoid robot is something that in 5, 10 years will be booming everywhere. And the people should not be scared about that. This is coming. And we need to be there. And we cannot stop this. The evolution of automation is growing exponential and will be growing in the coming 10, 20 years without any problem. Meantime, you can have a short period of recession, yes, of course, but this will not stop the trend of growing of this industry.
So during the last 30 years, for sure, we have gone over a series of short recessions.
Yeah.
You have probably gone through them as well.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to the CEO, the owner, a founder of a company which gets into this recession?
Invest. There are a lot of startups right now that they need support. And the startups of today will be the big companies of tomorrow. I'm going to US every month. And believe me, when you go to California, or I have been in India 2 weeks ago, visiting customers that they are planning to be world leaders in robotics, and they will be. The technology is there, the investment is there, and it's not stopping. Think about surgical robots. You will not stop that. Everything will be automated in the coming 5, 10, 20 years. And this will be an amazing opportunity for any automation company.
Where do you see the biggest potential in disruptions, in innovations, in automation that are coming for the next years?
Many disruptions. Think about what type of robotics can come in the future in the farming space. Think about medical robotics. Today is a reality, but not yet fully implemented. We are at the beginning, really early beginning. Think about humanoid robotics. We are going to have in 5, 10, 15 years, one humanoid robotic bringing packages to your house. And this is coming. How many humanoid robotics can be produced per year to bring all the packages to your houses? Think about that. Mm-hmm. And this is coming. How many robots require to automate any type of parcel logistic? Today are in early stages. The opportunity is huge, and this will not stop.
So there are a lot of startups right now in the robotics, software, automation, right now with innovative products, concepts. A lot of times they are started by technical people, by engineers, by CTOs, and sometimes they don't have enough business and sales experience. So one very important step for them is this step when they have to hire the first external hire. So maybe it's the sales manager, maybe it's a business developer, or it's a marketing manager. What would you recommend a company that is starting, that wants to open the door into new accounts? What type of hire, what type of person would you recommend to them?
You know, at the end, you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have the sales strategy, if you don't have a very professional understanding who is your customer, why they are buying you, why they are not buying you, what are the approaches that you need to do per each segment, the value proposition, how to work, how to create, the customer experience and so on, you will not sell. So you need all of that. And for that, you need a real experienced professional person to take the lead together with you. Only with a technical approach, you will not be successful. That's clear. And they need to understand. Even only with the sales, you will not be successful. You need a great product. You need a good product, You need to differentiate yourself, but you need to know how to sell it.
Going to the opposite world. So when we talk about corporations, bigger companies, what do you see are the biggest challenges and pain points that are finding the general managers and CEOs of these companies in terms of growth, in terms of sales?
The first thing I will say is the cultural topic. I think it's extremely important that every company create their own culture. And if you don't have it, you have to create it. And the problem is, if you have it and it's not the right one, this is the biggest problem. You have to see it, you have to realize it, and you have to change. Culture of the company is key. This is one point. The other point is to professionalize all aspects and to be one company, to break silos, because always there are silos, always there are frictions, and there are different visions, different approaches. Well, the best way is to understand that this is one company.
What questions would you ask the CEO, the general manager of a company to understand its true potential?
First of all, what I will ask them is if they are successful or not. What does it mean, success for them? We have to put the parameters, and perhaps they have an understanding and they have a different understanding. So we need to be on the same page. Are they successful? And what does it mean successful for you? The second is to understand why they are successful or why they are not successful, what they are thinking. Do they know really their customers? Are they going to the right segments? Are they going to the right customers? How they go to the right customers? Do they know what is the customer experience? Why the customers are buying? Why the customers are not buying? If the CEO is able to answer all these questions, we are on the same page for sure, and we will see how we can improve the situation. I have seen many companies that the CEO or the general manager is answering these questions, but perhaps are not the right answers. There is no one true, but there is one customer, and this customer will tell you the truth. Repeat this with 100 customers, with 1,000 customers, and you will understand where is this company, which is the potential of this customer, what is the customer experience, and so on. Understand the full customer experience is critical to understand the potential of the business. Of course, at the end, you need to know the product, you need to know what is the potential available market, you need to know which are the prospect customers, you have to set up the right strategy, many things in the sales process. But at the end, high-level process, the first one, in the first 5-10 minutes, the conversation should be, are you successful? Yes or not? Why? What is the customer experience you think your customer has? Put everything on the table,
Thank you very much, Gonzalo, for joining us, and I hope to see you back soon here in Barcelona.
Of course. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Be sure to subscribe to our podcast on youtube.com, Sweetbro, iTunes, Spotify, or RSS, so you never miss an episode. You can also receive updates straight to your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at sweetbro.com.